Hi, this is Eloise at the Chafee Fitness Center. Welcome to your weekly yoga practice. So just so you know what we're going to work on today, lots of hips, lower back. So we're going to be low to the ground today. If you're looking for more of Vinyasa practice, you can go back to last week's class, which was on the 13th of January, and check that out if you want to do more of a flow. This is just going to be slow, calm, a little bit restorative. So we're going to start on our backs. It's a 45-minute class, starting on your backs. If you have blocks, that's great. If you don't have blocks, that's okay too. Right? You can always use a book or something if you want a little bit of, if you want a prop to provide you with some stability. So we're going to lay on our backs. I'm going to do it this way. If you're at home, you use the long part of the mat. And just rest the head, bend the knees. Take your feet as wide as the mat. Inner arches are still lifted, so you're not collapsing in and lifting the outer arches off the ground, right? Draw the inside of the knees to connect. Inner arches are lifted. Find this little posterior tilt in your pelvis, right? So if you're not sure, stay on the ground. If you're not sure what that is, this is an anterior tilt, right? Sticking your butt out. This is a big posterior tilt, tucking it way under. You want to find your neutral place between the anterior and the posterior, right? So it's basically just resting the lower back on the mat without jamming it. Inside of the knees connect, and we'll start to settle into our breath. So our yoga breath, our ujjayi breathing is in and out through the nose. If that doesn't work for you, you can take the inhale through the nose, the exhale through an open mouth. Shavasana arms are like snow angel arms. Right? We connect the back of our shoulders, palms face up, and just come into your breath. Close the eyes. This is just something really nice to do after like a long day of sitting and or driving. So 2 more rounds of breath. A round of breath is an inhale and an exhale. Right? And then from here, after that second exhale, let's release that imprint. Drop the knees over to the left so the feet stay wide. Then bring it slowly back so the knees point towards the ceiling. And then we drop it over to the right. And then find a rhythm for 4 rounds. Right? Just starting to bring some mobility to the hips. 2 more times. Beautiful, everyone. All right, we'll come back to center. Feet come off the mat. So now your lower back is again placed on the mat. You can hold on to your shins, or if that's too much on your knees, you hold on to the hamstrings, the back of the upper leg. And we're just going hip to hip, over the spine. Coming back to center, 1 foot at a time to get back to your mat. And then from here, let's just connect the soles of our feet and let the knees fall open. Now this is a nice place if you have props, if you want to take the blocks and put them underneath the legs. Now to imprint, connect the lower back or not to imprint. That's up to you. That's a purely individual decision. For me, I'm in a neutral spine. I'm not imprinted. Say I have tight hips. When I imprint, I lose the connection in my inner thighs. Again, the palms are face up, Shavasana arms. You can close the eyes. And we'll take this moment here to set an intention for our practice. A prayer, a message for yourself, for the universe, for someone else in your life. It can be anything you like it to be. It's just something to meditate on while we do our practice together. Two more rounds of breath. And after that second exhale, right, take the fingertips gently to the outer thighs and just bring the feet, soles of the feet back to the mat. Keeping that right leg bent. We'll extend the sole of the right foot towards the ceiling, right? So you can hold on behind the hamstrings or behind the calves. Please don't pull behind the knees. You'll feel those ropey tendons. You don't want to pull on that, right? So we can do the calves, we can do the hamstrings. It would be great if you could keep the head connected. So it's very gentle. Knee can be soft, which means it's gently bent. We're just starting to wake up the hamstrings in the back of the legs. So the hamstrings, right? Two of your hamstrings connect into your sit bones, your butt bones, your ischial tuberosities. It's a little bony part. You can feel it if you put your hand right there. On your next exhale, we'll switch sides. Taking that left leg up. Oh, that feels good. Now to flex, what are we doing with the toes? You can flex your toes, you can keep them neutral. If you have sciatic issues, I would keep the toes neutral. Right? So you can play with that, see what feels better. Or you can move between the two if you like. On your next exhale, we'll bend that left knee in towards the chest. We'll take the right knee in, roll over to your side, and come right up into a nice little tabletop. So the knees are underneath your hips. Wrists are underneath the shoulders, right? Press through the whole hand. So you don't want to put all your weight in the heel of the hand. We press into the heel, the knuckles, the fingertips. Your gaze is down. Let's tuck the toes. Have a neutral spine. On your exhale, round the back, tuck the chin. And pause. So we're pulling belly button to spine, pressing into the hands without elevating the shoulders, right? Keep those shoulders plugged in their pockets. On your next inhale, come to a neutral spine. The gaze is down, flatten the top of the feet. Now you can drop the belly towards the mat in an anterior tilt and look forward. That's cow pose, or you can keep it neutral. Right, so 3 more rounds. You can follow me or go on your own breath. Tuck the toes round the back, tuck the chin on the exhale. The inhale is a neutral spine with flat feet or cow pose. 2 more. Beautiful. We'll meet with the top of our feet on the mat, neutral spine. Right. Press back, hips to heels into your child's pose. Now, if full flexion, if this is full flexion of the knee, if that doesn't speak to you, if that's ouchy on your knees, please come into a forearm tabletop and take your child's pose like this, right? I like to take my knees wide, feet together, big toes touch, or you can keep the legs together. We sink down, connect the forehead, and come back into your breath. So pausing in this child's pose. I like the knees wide because I feel like I can get in, I can sink a little deeper. My diaphragm, my breathing muscle that's attached to my rib cage, that can move freely. But if you like your legs together, keep them together. And then we'll walk our hands over to the left. So taking your hands over to the left side, Forehead's connected. Now, if the forehead doesn't reach the ground, put something under it. You can put a pillow, a block, a squishy ball if you have one. Then we'll slowly walk back to child's pose, reset, and then go over to the other side. So now we're reaching over towards the right. The forehead is connected onto the mat or a prop. On your next exhale, let's come back to child's pose. We're going to roll up, right, to a tabletop. Bring the knees under the hips if they were wide. Walk your hands towards your knees as you roll up to stand on the knees. So this is where that padding situation comes in. If you need to pad your knees, please find something to put under there because we're going to be kneeling for a little while. So the right foot comes forward. We rotate that left hip. So the left hip, we try to keep it in line with the right. Engage those glute muscles, your butt muscles, right? So we're contracting them. Take your right hand onto your right leg, the left hand comes on top, right? And then we find that little posterior tilt, so we're not in a big arch in our lower back. As we start to sink the hips forward and come into this nice little hip flexor stretch. So your hip flexor muscles, right? Your rectus femoris, part of your quads, your psoas, your pectinis, there's about between 5 and 8 muscles depending on what you're doing that flex the knee. So we'll press that right hand, left hand into the right into the leg. Keep that right knee over the ankle as much as possible. We're looking forward, keeping the spine nice and neutral. One more round of breath, and on that exhale, right, start to bring that left hip over the right. Switch legs for me. You can just switch, you can stand that side. I'm just gonna scooch around so that you can see me, right? So now the left leg comes forward, right? We rotate that right hip, engage those right glutes. Left hand on left hand on left leg, right hand is on top of the left. As we start to sink forward towards the top of the mat, you're gonna start to feel an opening right here in the hips. Right in the front right there, hopefully. And you may feel it in other places. And those are maybe areas that are tight or sticky. We come back to our breath. We come back to that intention. One more round of breath. And on that exhale, start to shift that right hip over the right knee. Gently bring that left leg around, right? Come back. Let's just do one child's pose really quickly. And then roll up again to stand on the knees. And this is where a block is going to come in handy. Right? So let's extend the right leg. Line up your ankle and knee and hip. Right? So the toes can be out or the toes can be in front of the heels. Right? It's just what feels good on your joints. Right? You take the block over to the left. Right? That left hip stays over the left knee as much as possible. Let's inhale, sweep the arms to frame the ears, right? Exhale, take that right hand onto the right leg and draw the left arm over. So your left arm might be here. Right? It might not be able to reach all the way. We're working towards getting it over the ear. That might take a while. Right? Connect the outer arch of your right foot. This big opening on your left side. And then on your next inhale, we'll take the shoulders over the hips. The exhale, you take your left hand to the mat or the block, and then take your right arm over and reach. Now, being mindful that we're not dipping into this, right? We're not dropping. Keep that neck long. Keep the shoulder, top of the shoulder away from your ear. Gaze is forward. You can close the eyes. One more round of breath. After that exhale, we'll inhale. We'll bring the shoulders back over the hips. Tuck that leg in, and we're going right over to the other side. So if you need a block, you just move it over. We extend the left leg. Ankle, knee, and hip line up. Right, come into that little posterior tilt. Inhale, take the arms up to frame the ears. We take the left hand onto the left leg as the right arm reaches over. Again, we keep it long, right? Don't scrunch, don't elevate that left shoulder. Nice opening right here from that left hip. Right hip. All the way up through the shoulder. On your next inhale, we'll take the shoulders over the hips as we take that right hand to the mat or the block, and we reach the left arm over. So this is really important that the outside arch of that left foot is anchored. On your next inhale, let's bring the shoulders over the hips as we tuck that leg in. Come to your tabletop. 3 rounds. Let's just do 3 rounds of cat-cow again. You can tuck and untuck the toes if that's what you would like to do, or you can just keep the feet neutral. All right, after that 3rd round, we'll meet in tabletop. All right, walk your hands back to your knees to stand up on your, so we're standing on our knees and we're just gonna bring the arms forward. Right, we're just gonna bring the arms forward. So a little standing on the knees, mountain pose. Find that little posterior tilt. Inhale, bring the arms up to frame the ears. Exhale, fold, come into this little tabletop again. Tuck your toes and come into your down dog. So we line this up. You know, your wrists are somewhat in line with your shoulders. I like my toes in line with my wrists, but you can take your feet wide too. Right, we'll bend the knees. So take your knees, bend your knees, both at the same time. And then we'll extend. So we have 3 more rounds here, right? Bend the knees, ears between the arms, right? And then you can extend the legs, 2 more. Last one. And we'll meet with knees bent, right? Take little steps to the top of your mat. So we'll meet in this fold. Feet are about hip distance apart, right? See if you can get the crown of the head to be parallel with the mat. And you shouldn't wear a hoodie when you're trying to teach yoga. And then we'll do our elephant trunk. So the fingertips are sweeping around the feet. Now, maybe your fingertips don't reach the mat. You can still do the same thing, right? Or you can really bend the knees. One more on each side. We'll come back to center. Inhale. Now come to your halfway lift, right? So you can extend the legs. Draw the shoulder blades towards your spine, gazes down. Fingertips, you're gonna take your fingertips where they land on the legs, right? So we're stretching the hamstrings and we're getting a little lower back strengthening, right? So you don't wanna be rounded over like this, right? Draw those shoulder blades towards the spine. Nice neutral spine, all right? On your next exhale, bend the knees and fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. One more. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. And then the inhale, we rise. We come on up, right? Stand all the way up, connect the palms overhead and bring them down to your heart center. We'll pause here. So feet are hip distance apart. Let's lift the toes and come into, and release the hands and come into your triangle of support in the feet, right? So we attach the arches of our feet to the mat, right? Big toe, little toe, and the heel. And then you can slowly just bring your toes back down and keep them extended, right? Inhale, take the arms up, exhale and fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, right, to your high plank. We're not gonna stay here very long. And again, you can be on your knees too, please, right? If you have ouchy wrists, go on your forearms or put the blocks under your hands, right? On your next exhale, we slowly bring the feet back. I'm sorry, not the feet, the legs. Bring your knees down to the mat, come into this little half plank. And then the elbows go to the back of the room and we come to lay on our bellies. Stack your palms or fists. Rest the forehead, okay? Bend your knees, soles of the feet to the ceiling as we take the feet side to side. So a little reverse windshield wiping. This is a nice way to release your lower back, right? We are gonna come into a nice quad stretch. Now, if you have challenges holding onto your foot, you can take a yoga belt or a towel and loop it around, okay? So take the right leg down, reach around with your left hand, right, on the outside. So I'm holding on right on the top of my foot. My hips are connected, they're on the mat. And then press your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot. And you'll start to feel this stretch through your rectus femoris. Right? It's your one of your big quad muscles, crosses your hip and your knee, right? It does a lot of work and we don't stretch it enough. So visualize the front of your leg and the muscles in the front of your leg, right? We'll send them some love. We have 4 more rounds of breath here. On that 4th exhale, you'll release that leg. Bring that left arm around and switch sides. So gently bending the right knee, reaching around again. You can put a towel or a yoga strap or a belt around your foot if you can't reach it. Then you press your foot into your hand. You can also do this pose on your side. If laying on your belly doesn't work, you can always come onto your side and do it that way. So we're drawing the heel away from the glutes, from the butt muscles. Right, you're pressing that foot into the hand into the foot. Coming back to your breath. Three more rounds of breath here. On that 3rd exhale, we'll release that leg. Right? Taking your elbows underneath your shoulders. Palms are flat. Right? Tops of the feet are gently pressed into the mat. As we press through the forearms and the hands and we look forward. And we come into Sphinx pose. So it's a little back bend. Right? Then when you get there, pretend like you're drawing your elbows towards the bottom of your mat. Open the chest, gazes forward. I always get a nice stretch in my 6-pack here and my rectus abdominis. I always feel a nice little stretch. Our hips are connected, okay? So you're not lifting your hips off the ground. You don't need to clench your butt, You don't need to clench the butt muscles. You can just gently press into the tops of your feet for 4, 3, 2, and 1. On your next exhale, we come down, we take the feet off the ground, and we windshield wiper back and forth before we transition into our child's pose. Right, so when you're ready to come into child's pose, connect the forehead. And on your inhale, come to tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, come into your down dog. Let's bend the right knee and draw the left heel towards the mat. And then switch sides. So we're walking the dog, we're giving those calves some love. Four more times, 2 more on each side. We'll meet in down dog. On your inhale, take that right leg up for a 3-legged dog. On your exhale, we come through to high plank and that right foot comes to the mat. So now we're in our runner's lunge. Right hands frame the foot, put blocks there. Right, if you want blocks, take them. Why not? Right? You want, I like the height actually, it feels really nice. So we're pressing through the ball of that left foot, you're spreading those left toes. You're sinking your pelvic floor, and you can always come down on your left knee if you want to, right? But we're sinking the pelvic floor towards the mat. You're gonna anchor that left wrist under your left shoulder, and then bring the right arm up. So I'm nursing a little shoulder injury on my left side, so I'm not gonna tee the arms up, right? I'm just gonna listen to my body today. And on your next exhale, we're gonna sweep the right fingertips past the right toes. Come into this prasarita, this wide-legged forward fold, right? So you wanna try to line your toes up. We're gonna walk the hands out in front of you like a down dog arm. Again, hands can be on blocks if that's more comfortable. Drawing the ears between the arms, we lift the inner arches and then flex the front of your legs. Flex those quadriceps, right? We're looking for a stretch in the hamstrings, adductors, inner thighs, and shoulders, and lower back. Back to your breath. On that next exhale, we'll start to walk the hands under the heart. Inhale, come to your halfway lift here. Nice neutral spine, bend the left knee, draw that left hip towards the left heel as you extend the right leg. And here we are, shoulders are away from the ears, our gaze is down, our back is strong. Right, we'll come back to center for just a moment, and then we'll bend the right knee, extend the left leg. So just a bigger stretch in the adductors, right? You've got 6 adductor muscles that come off the pubic bone, and they attach in different places on your thigh bone, your femur. They can be pesky. Let's turn around. Come into this back to runner's lunge with the right foot forward. Right, and we'll take our fingers in front of our toes or on props, right? And then take that left leg up in the air. We did this last week. Take that left leg up in the air as you extend the right leg. And try to get the top of your head parallel with the mat, right? So maybe your blocks are out here. I find that people that are super tight, they'll come up on the ball of their foot. Please try to keep the heel connected, if you can. Right, rotate that left hip towards the floor. Shoulders are plugged in their pockets. One more round of breath, and then we'll take that left foot to meet the right. Inhale, come to your halfway. Fold on the exhale. Rise on the inhale. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. Exhale and fold. Inhale to your halfway. This exhale, we plant the palms, we step back to our high plank, in a full or half plank, elbows to the back of the mat as you lower down. Inhale, come to your cobra or your up dog. Then exhale into child's pose. Inhale, come to your tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, find your down dog. The next inhale, we take the left toes up towards the ceiling. Right, exhale to high plank, you draw that left foot to the top of your mat. And come into your runner's lunge. We take the heel of the right hand under the right shoulder as you take the left arm up. Sinking the hips, keep that right heel behind the toes. One more round of breath, right? And on that exhale, we sweep the left fingers past the left toes. You pivot long on your mat. And we're back to Prasarita, right? But we're going to do a different variation here. You're going to start to walk the heels of your hands towards the heels of your feet. So you're in this little chaturanga arms, right? So we hug the elbows. Elbows are over the wrist. You hug the elbows towards one another. Lift the inner arches of your feet. Crown of the head is parallel with the mat as much as possible, right? Equal weight in the front and back of the feet. We flex the front of the legs. Oh, that's nice, right? It's a nice stretch. 2 more rounds of breath. Right, after that second exhale, you'll inhale to that halfway lift. This time we'll bend the right knee, take the right hip towards the right heel. Keep the outside of that left foot, keep it anchored. And then we'll come back to center and we'll go over to the other side and pause. Now we're gonna move side to side. You're gonna find your own rhythm here. Now people do sometimes like to lift their toes. You can do that, right? That'll get the hamstrings a little bit more, but I'm always looking for adductor. So I like to keep my feet connected. It's really what your body needs. If you feel like you need more hamstrings, you lift those toes, right? We'll do 4, 3, 2, right? When you find your way back to that left, the left knee being bent and the right leg extended, that's where we pause. We pivot around to the top of our mat. Hands in front of the toes or props in front of the left toes, right? As you lift that right leg, extend the left leg. Gaze is at your knee, your left knee. Rotate that right hip towards the floor. Arms are nice and strong. So you're in this standing split. Right, we're trying to get our fingers in line with the toes as much as possible. 1 more round of breath. On that exhale, bring that right foot to meet the left. Inhale, come to your halfway. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant the palms, you step back. We come down onto the knees. Right, and you're going to shift your hips over your heels just for a moment. So we're sitting in Thunderbolt. If this doesn't speak to you, stay kneeling. Right, we'll just pause here. Take the left hand over the heart center. Right hand stacks, thumbs meet, rest the fingers. So just coming into a quiet moment before we lay on our backs. Right, so bring your attention, your awareness back to your breath. Back to your intention. And we'll slowly release that mudra, release your hands, and let's come onto our backs. Again, I'm gonna lay this way. Actually, I'm gonna scooch my back. Okay. So you're gonna lay on your back. You can have your props handy or on our backs. Take the feet off the mat. Palms of the hands come to rest on the kneecaps. We open the knees, take the knees away, extend the arms, and then bring it back together. And we'll do that 3 more times for a total of 4. And then just go in the other direction when you get to your 4th round. All right, beautiful, everybody. So pausing here, let's extend the, bring the soles of the feet back to your mat. And then slide that right leg out, left leg out, and then slide the right leg out. So now we're laying fully extended on the mat. Reach the arms up, and just grab a full body stretch here. So reach those fingertips towards the top of the mat, toes towards the bottom, get that big stretch, right? And then on your exhale, let it go. You're gonna walk your legs over to the right side. Hips stay connected. And then the arms go over towards the right side. Okay. So you're making a banana shape with your body. The shoulders might lift off, like your arms might be like this, maybe because you're tight in the shoulders. If that's really uncomfortable, put something underneath there. Put a block or something underneath there. So we're gonna be here for a moment. Then if you would like to take your left ankle and cross it over the right. Right? That might not feel great. If that doesn't speak to you, uncross the ankle. Right? Our gaze is, close the eyes. Right? So we're keeping our hips connected, shoulders, arms might be resting on a prop, like a cushion from the couch, right? Or a pillow under there. If your shoulders are elevated, might feel really nice. Right? So we have 4 more rounds of breath. And on that 4th exhale, please uncross your ankles. We'll slowly take the feet, the ankles back under the knees, come back into this full plank, and go to the other side, right? So this time the left legs are gonna go over to the side. And the arms are gonna go over to the left. Right? Really just being very mindful that we try to keep the hips connected. You don't want to cross the ankles and lift that right butt cheek off, because then you're going to lose the connection of the stretch. Right? So let's cross the ankle. See how that feels? Just because you did it on one side, you might not be able to do it on the other. So we're getting into the muscles here that surround our IT band. So let's take 4 more rounds of breath here. When you get to that 4th exhale, uncross your ankles. Bring the ankles and knees back under the hips. Come back to that full body stretch. Reach the fingertips towards the top of the mat, toes towards the bottom, right? And then as you exhale, slowly bring the soles of the feet back to the mat with the knees bent. Connecting that right leg, I'm going to take your left ankle onto the right thigh. And then reach your take your right foot off the mat. You can thread through here. Right? And just remember, like if your head is like this, if your throat is really open and your chin is higher than your forehead, just means you've got really tight shoulders or tight neck muscles. Just put a block under there. Don't hang out like that. It's so uncomfortable, right? You can always put a block or a pillow under there. And we're just getting a nice stretch in that left hip, right? Your glute med, your piriformis. The other thing you can do, like if threading through doesn't work for you, you can take that right foot and put it on your couch or a wall for just a little bit more, or maybe just the ball of your foot, just to give you a little bit more leverage. One more round of breath, and then we'll slowly take that right foot to the mat, take the left leg off, and switch sides. Okay. So you're going to be different on both sides. This is my ouchier side on my left, and we're trying to keep that left knee in line with the left hip, like not rolling it in, right? Trying to keep all that alignment, which is so important. The other thing you can do is if you have a person in the room with you, they can just stand at the end of your mat and you can put your left foot on their thigh for some leverage too. One more round of breath. And then we'll let go of that left leg if you're threaded through. Take the right leg out. Inside of the knees to touch, feet are wide, but your inner arches are lifted, Shavasana, Snow Angel arms. And let's just bring some mobility back to the hips. We held those poses for a little while. We'll do 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, last 1. Awesome. Then bring the legs back, right, to the left side. So this is a little supine face up spinal twist. You can just stay here. If you don't have any hip or lower back issues, you can try taking that left foot on top of the right leg and using the weight of that left foot to just gently guide that right leg down. By no means, my right leg is not touching the mat. Right? I'm just using that extra weight as leverage. It's just a suggestion if you want to go a little deeper, but we never push the body past its point. Right? When your body says stop, we stop in yoga. If that left foot is resting, let's slowly take it off, take it back to your mat. Right? We'll bring that right hip down. Join connect the inside of the knees again, just to reset the pelvis and the spine. And then we drop the knees over to the right. We take the right foot on top of the left, if you want to go there. Slowly releasing that left leg, coming back to center. Inside of the knees to touch, feet are wide. We're going to end our practice how we started it. Gently imprint the lower back. Inside of the knees connect. Shoulders are connected. Head is supported or not. We have a couple more rounds of breath in this construction pose. On your next exhale, we'll take the feet off the mat. Find your way over to your right side. Pause for a moment. And then we'll come up to our seated position. Right, I'm going to sit in Thunderbolt today. You can sit in easy pose, or you can come into your Thunderbolt, which is hips to heels. Too much on the knees, put something under there. Sit on something. We'll find that little posterior tilt. Palms are up. Come back to your intention that you set for your practice today. Inhale, focus on that intention. And then on the exhale, let it out, float it out into the universe. Take your left hand onto your heart center. Right hand stacks. Fingers rest as the thumbs meet. Just drawing all the good stuff. Draw all that good stuff into your heart center. On your next exhale, we'll release that mudra to connect our palms together. Take the thumbs up to your third eye, the space in the middle of your forehead, as we find our bow of gratitude and say namaste. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Hopefully sometime soon we will all be back together in a room. If you have any requests for yoga practice or poses you want to work on or muscle groups, just DM me and I can put it in the mix. So I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.